Oh, are we live? Oh, I'm live. Is this how this works? This is so wonderful. The technology, people, is amazing. And I am so happy to be in my creative space with you. I'm still alone because it's being produced by Studio Aqua. And they tell me I'm not ready to have guests yet. So you're just gonna have to put up with me for a little bit. But that's okay because we're in my creative space. That makes me so happy. I feel like a little girl. Anyway, today I'm leading with love. I wanted to talk about leading with love. I'm Everything is connected to that book that I wrote, Loving America While It's Out of Bounds, a book of essays for my sons that I created a while ago, but I created all of those essays in the middle of the night. Generally, when something happened in America that just really tore at my heart, and then I would run to my creative space and I would write, write, write. And so I wanted to talk about love because I think always we need love in the world. That is the thing that we're always lacking. And so I wanted to talk about love. Unfortunately, I don't like the way my pillows are set up. This is okay. Um, I told the producer, a creative space means it's not perfect, right? So go with me. But I wanted to about love today because I truly believe love is the most powerful energy in the universe. I think it is the omega, okay? It's the alpha and the omega of everything that you want to do. And so, leading with love, I looked through the book of essays, Loving America, and I was like, but I didn't name any of them love. But this is what I realized. All of them I wrote in a moment when I was really, really feeling badly about something. And my purpose and my calling as a creative is to turn the darkness into light and love. So they're all filled with love because I have to pour in love after something happens that really hurts my heart and wounds me. And so leading with love is in all of the essays, but I don't name any of them love. And so I thought about how is it that I make sure that I lead with love? And generally that comes from the people and the things that I have around me that are pouring into me. And so I call them my spiritual anchors. And so I'm going to read from an essay where I talk about the 5 spiritual anchors that have grounded me in love. And the first one, of course, is my mom. I know everybody's sick of me talking about Dr. Georgia May, but I got to just give the woman her props. Born in the red dirt of Georgia, poor, had tuberculosis as a kid, but raised herself up from this shack in Georgia to become a leading educator, director of Department of Defense military schools, had me traveling all over the world while I was at UCLA. Just an amazing woman. And so, got to give her her props. And the thing, though, that touched me before she passed and anchors me is this. She battled cancer for 32 years. And one day I was there with her in DC at a hospital, and it was one of the worst episodes we had ever gone through. It was maybe a year before she passed, but remember, she lived 34 years. If anybody is watching this, she thrived with cancer for 34 years. But on this particular night, I was wandering around the hospital looking for something to eat. I was starving. I had been by her bedside all day. And go down this corridor and I look up and there's a life-size picture of my mom from in the from the oncology department at the hospital. And underneath it says, I thrived with cancer because I never gave up on my dreams. And that right there has carried me the last 30 years because I realized to live and to thrive and to be able to lead with love, you should never give up on your dreams. So, any creative that watches this, stay with it. Don't give up. Stay with it. If God deposits it in you, He's going to bring it out of you. So, stay with it. Stay with those dreams. The second person was my big mama. I started writing. And one of the reasons I get so excited when I get in the creative space is because I started writing during a time when I was really, really depressed. And I was telling God that I don't want to live if I got to feel this cloud hanging over me and feel this depressed. And the answer was that I began to create. So that happened right before I went to go visit my big mama in London while she was visiting my mom. And she told me, she related to my being depressed and said, honey, when I was in the country, 13 years old, pregnant with your mom, I used to crawl on the floor of the forest, and one day I was crawling on the floor of the forest looking for something to eat and eating berries. And God told me to shout. And boy, did I shout. And from that, I created my shine. If you can't shine, surrender, have hope, overcome. Use God's power and take charge with your life. Take charge of your life. Or if you can't take charge, share a testimony like I'm doing today in my creative space. So the second person that anchored me in love was the shout. The third, my dear husband, I moved him up. He was fourth, but I moved him up. He should be proud of me. And he anchors me in love by this. He is a man that doesn't need a lot of attention. Well, he needs attention from us, from his family, but not from the world, not being on social media saying he's doing this or that. He's a man that knows his responsibilities. He takes them seriously. He works for his family. He loves his family. The man didn't miss, basketball games and parent teacher conferences or anything that I needed from him for our three boys. He was there, and he did his best to give me his best for our sons. And that's what I call a person who is anchored. And just watching him maneuver makes me want to be my best and to give love back. So find those kind of people. I'm giving you all of these people because I want you to think about who's in your life and who's anchoring you and what tools you're using and whether or not they're feeding you so that you can lead with love. Okay, number 4. Everybody's going to think I'm crazy, but I can't help it. And it is Oprah. I love Oprah. Oprah is my girl because she too was there when I started writing. I ain't gonna say the year because y'all can add up. Y'all do math, and I don't want anybody to do the math. But Oprah had just changed her theme song, and her theme song was I'm Every Woman. And I think it was the beginning of Oprah defining herself as this person who was going to share love and light. She was giving away stuff. She had a dream bus that my autistic son, my oldest son is autistic, and she had a dream bus where she would, fulfill people's dreams. And he and I love the dream bus and love the song. I'm gonna have to look it up on the internet and find it. But Oprah, Oprah was my girl. And for a while, every time I did a book signing, Wings to Fly on Edge, I would have me a gospel singer singing a cappella, I'm Every Woman, because Oprah had poured into me that I could do what she did. And that's why I'm sitting up in my creative space talking to you. Okay, number 4, I got to put my glasses on because we're getting to the nitty gritty. I got to look in the book for number 4 because I am a woman who can't memorize stuff, so I have to read. Number 4 is. Am I on number 4? I'm on number 5. Number 5 is my producer's helping me. I love him. Number 5 is Mark, the book of Mark. For a while, not for a while, for decades, I have this taped to my bathroom cabinet. I have glass cabinets in my bathroom, and I have this taped. Are you ready? I'm going to read. This is from the book of Mark. It is 11 verse. It's chapter 11, verse 22. 11:22. Mark 11:22. Have faith in God. Jesus answered. I'm sorry, I got to go there in my creative space, okay? Because this is how I got here. Calling on Jesus. Truly, I tell you, if anyone says to this mountain, okay? You're talking to mountains, okay? You ain't talking to some little people walking down the street. You're talking to mountains. Go throw yourself into the sea, and does not doubt in their heart, but believes that what they say will happen. It will be done for them. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. And when you stand praying, if you hold anything against anyone, forgive them. This scripture right here helps me lead with love because I have to clear out my heart. Forgive them so that your Father in heaven may forgive you your sins. Woo! Just ask, and he can make mountains move. I love this. Of course, you can't just ask for any old thing like Cadillacs and SUVs. You need to be aligned with what God has in store for you. So that's a whole different episode. But just remember, okay, Mark 11:22. When you're doubting yourself and you need your faith to be restored, go there, read that, ask God, what is it he wants you to do that's aligned with what he has purpose only for you. And my final anchor, this is it right here. This is it right here. If you want to see me shout, let me walk in the church and the preacher is preaching on this story. Peter, my favorite apostle, he's in the boat. Simon Peter, he's in the boat and he has fished all night long and he has not caught a thing. Have you ever been there where you have worked so hard? You've worked so hard. If you're creative like I am, you've probably been there because being a creative, being a writer, being a filmmaker is bumpy. It can be bumpy. And so you've worked so hard. You've done everything that you can possibly do. You're tired. You're dog tired. And you're ready to give up. Have you ever been there? I bet you have. I know I have. I've been there many a day. And this line right here, this is in Luke 5:5. I should change the name of my sixth anchor to Luke, but we'll stick with Peter. Simon Peter. In the boat, they say God's voice was amplified because he was in the water. But this part of Luke 5:5 says, nevertheless. When I hear that word, I start shouting because the nevertheless means that even though you've been up all night, even though your results don't look like what you expected and what you put in, nevertheless, at your word, I will let down the net. And so I come to you in the creative space. Nevertheless, all that stuff that happened, negative stuff that happened, nevertheless, I am here in the creative space with you, sharing tools to lead with love based upon holding on to spiritual anchors filled with gratitude. So I hope you enjoyed this session, and it is short and sweet. And I'm going to take my glasses off so you can see my eyes. And I just thank you so much for being here with me. God bless you. God bless yours. And I hope you will join me next week on Tuesday. I think I'm going to be talking about children because I love children, but don't hold me to that. Okay. God bless you. Bye.